is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
I am your father.
You like Huey Lewis on the news?
Yes. And you're not sure about this, are you?
You're gonna die, clown!
What's the most you ever lost on a coin toss? Sam? The most you ever lost on a coin toss. Call it.
Whose motorcycle is this?
It's a chopper, baby.
Whose chopper is this?
Zed's.
Who's Zed?
Zed's dead, baby.
Bring out today!
This is a tasty burger.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Wait a minute. You ain't heard nothing yet.
Welcome to the fucking show.
Hello. Welcome back to See What Sticks, a podcast about everything and nothing. I'm Russell.
And I am always Ben.
Yeah, Ben is back, as always. Well, it's not even Ben is back. Ben's here. Internet celebrity Ben. What was I was gonna say a thing. Ben, I have a question since I'm getting longer hair. How often do you shampoo your head? Ben is bald, guys.
I do. I use like a Head and Shoulders or an off-brand Head and Shoulders just because I get a very dry scalp and my scalp will just flake like hell. So I do use that to kind of keep that under control. And then after the shower, I use a nice moisturizer or lotion to keep it nice and moisturized.
Nice. I've been using Mane and Tail, which is like horse shampoo. That's why my hair looks so nice right now. It's very silky. I'm not kidding. I've actually been using horse shampoo. For those of you who don't know, I'm growing my hair out. I'm not going to go like ponytail status, but like, what is the name of the haircut? You know how like Bradley Cooper and stuff has this like hair back? It's like long, but it's like short as well. And like my hair's almost there. It's about 80% of the way there. And that's the look I'm going for. Like I'm trying, but I'm not trying, but I'm definitely trying.
Yeah, I don't know if that style has a particular name because, I mean, obviously with me being bald, I'm not well educated or well versed on hairstyles that much. Mm-hmm. So, but I would just call it like the Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for. But Ben, are you a nighttime shower guy or are you a morning shower guy?
I'm a morning shower guy. Like it helps me wake up.
Oh, okay. I'm a nighttime shower guy just because I don't know. I mean, I can't go to sleep with my hair not being like cleaned. Like I feel like I don't need to shower, but my hair needs to be clean, if that makes sense. Like if I could just put my head under a shower or magically have my hair clean, I could go to sleep. But having my body clean is like two birds, one stone kind of thing. But yeah, I can't. Otherwise, I feel like gross. Like I've been like if you go camping or something and you're like busy all day, or you're just in a situation where you don't have the opportunity to shower at night, I just don't have a good night's sleep. I need that. I need that. Like I need to be so fresh and so clean when I go to bed.
Yeah, I will take like evening or night showers if the situation calls for it. Like if I have been like sweating profusely or doing something like to get myself dirty. But for average days, like before class, yeah, I'll wake up and take a shower just to like that. Plus my morning caffeine, coffee, cocaine, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, man.
It helps me get going.
See, I've been trying to cut I've been trying to cut coke out of my life. It's really bad for my heart. But no, I've been trying to cut the whole caffeine thing recently. It's been like almost a crutch as of late, and it's not good. Like really bad. But I've like almost completely cut sugar out of my life, and now caffeine is the hard one because when I cut all the sugar out, I compensated for it by like drinking Diet Coke and drinking like the 0 sugar, 0 calorie monster that probably is full of cancer. But that's like how I offset it. And now offsetting that, it's going to be really difficult because I went from like one thing to another that like is an addictive-y kind of thing. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I have to get zen with it and really just cut it out.
Yeah, cutting sugar completely out of my life takes more self-discipline than I currently have at this point. I've tried to cut back on sugar. Mm-hmm. Hard because sugar's in everything.
Yeah, dude.
Like even bread.
Dude, sugar.
Bread, like you people should really cut, maybe not completely cut bread out of their lives, but like too much bread is not that great for you.
Yeah, I don't eat bread anymore, and I also cut out dairy, just because like I don't like milk in general. I don't really. I mean, I'll eat yogurt on a rare occasion, probably like once every like 6 months. I'll have yogurt, or I'll be like, "Ooh, that yogurt like sounds really good." But apart from that, like I don't really eat cheese, like because I don't eat bread, so I don't have sandwiches, so I don't really have cheese. So that kind of cuts that out. And I mean, like I'll have pasta, which I know is like bread type substance, but I don't really like, since I don't eat sweets, I don't have cake either. So I've been able to cut those out. And now it's weird when I go out with friends and they're like, let's go do stuff. And I'm like, I'm that weird guy who's like, I'm not vegetarian at all. Like I'll eat only meat. I'll eat only protein for a day. But having these weird things where I stopped eating them and I'm like, I'll order just random shit at a restaurant and they're like, dude, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm trying to stick with this whole thing, that like this healthy kick I'm on, but it's definitely not sustainable.
Yeah. Do you, like, if you do get into some sort of like wrap or sandwich-ish type thing,
yeah,
do you do like lettuce wraps?
I will. If a lettuce wrap's an option, I love a lettuce wrap. I am a big lettuce wrap dude, but I mean, like, let's say I'm going to Subway, I'll do like the wrap sandwich instead of the sub. Or you can get a chopped salad from Subway. I don't really like those though, so I will do a wrap sandwich there. But at Subway also, sometimes I don't get cheese on my sub. Like most of the time I don't, and people look at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like,
well, cheese, that's going to be like the highest like calorie count for the sandwich. Like that's how Child Diddler Jared, like that's what he did with his sandwiches. Like he never got cheese. It basically was just like meat, veggies, and mustard.
Yeah. Seriously, like, for those of you who want to know, I love the meatball marinara from Subway. That's probably like my go-to. But if I'm trying to actually be healthy and go to Subway and be like, I don't hate myself, turkey wrap, like, or it's like the rotisserie chicken with like lettuce, tomato, pickles, onions, jalapenos, mustard, and chipotle. That's my order. So if anyone wants to order me Subway, get on it.
I have two go-to sandwiches. It's either the chicken bacon ranch, which is like not healthy at all, but it's kind of like the indulgence sandwich.
It's so good
on flatbread, because I think Subway's bread is like too much bread almost.
Yeah, it's
so
really.
I like to have as little bread as possible with their sandwiches. Either that or the sweet onion chicken teriyaki.
Ooh, dude, sweet onion chicken teriyaki is so good. Like
it
is
spinach, that sweet onion sauce, and like light onion. No, not overwhelm me with onion, but like
a little bit.
A circle of onion per like section of the sandwich.
See, I'm weird. I can eat a whole onion. Like that doesn't bother me. Maybe it's because I'm Russian, but like I can straight up eat an onion like an apple. Like it doesn't affect me. Or I can eat like garlic, just like I can pop it in and I won't even make a face. And it's just like people look at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, I don't know. They have like this kind of spice to them, but they're not like unpleasant. It's not like you're biting through, I don't know, like an orange, like eating the rind as well. That's really unpleasant. I mean, I love oranges, but that kind of thing was way worse than just taking a bite of an onion. I don't know. Maybe I am crazy. Maybe that people are like, dude, that's the grossest thing ever. But I have done it like at like a restaurant, like you know when you get like a burger and you have like the onion thing. If I'm out with like my parents or something, and my dad thinks salt is too spicy, so frame of reference, and he'll give me an onion, I'll just eat it like a chip. So yeah, it's pretty gross if you really think about it.
I mean, the worst part is just you have that onion residue or that residual smell on your breath afterwards.
Dude, that smell doesn't bother me, like, personally.
Well, yeah, not you, but
everyone else around me. But, yeah, oh, you've never been in my car, but Jesus H. Christ, I cannot speak. I'm the weird person who always has, like, 3 different packs of gum in my car. Not because I'm like a recovering addict. It's because I need to chew gum all the time. I have this weird oral fixation. So my breath always smells minty, even though I'm just eating garlic and onions all day. Just keep those vampires away. That's
those
the thing.
Vampires that also don't like onions.
Yeah, dude. I mean, onions are kind of like one of those things where people don't like them for some reason. I'm like, dude, they're so good. They just add to the meal. Like, I love olives as well. So I'm a big olive guy. And I'll drink pickle juice as well. So I just like bitter stuff, I think. I think that's the thing. I like salty and bitter.
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
And that's like an acquired taste. Some people don't like that. And I'm like, oh, dude, I could just drink pickle juice.
I can do like like Hannibal Buress has a comedy bit about like pickle juice, like spritzing a little bit on his sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and hearing that, I'm like, yeah, like I love doing that. Like I don't like to bite into an actual pickle, but like pulling a pickle off a burger, but then still tasting that like little bit of juice there, I actually really like that.
Yeah, no, it's good. Did I tell you? Well, maybe I did. I don't know if I was telling you on the podcast or not, or maybe I was telling someone else. But I went to McDonald's for the first time probably 3 years recently. But I looked up like their meat. Yeah, it's not healthy. But the people who were at the McDonald's, I was fairly certain they wouldn't serve me. So I literally went in and I asked for like, oh, Ben is dying. Sorry, guys. I went in.
I tickle in my throat all the time.
Oh, I hate that. Where like you can't get it, it's like sitting right under your Adam's apple. You're like the whole time. Yeah, dude, I hate it. But so I went to McDonald's and I ordered just burgers with onions and pickles and like the ketchup or whatever, but no bread and no cheese. I'm like, can I get 4 patties just stacked on top of each other like this? And the woman at the front was super, super cool about it. She looked like I was like on like bath salts or something. She's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, no, like legit, that's what I want. She's like, nothing else. And then like I ordered, but the people in the back weren't as cool with it as she was. And it was like a 15-minute ordeal just to get this thing processed, because I feel like they have to take out different burgers or something. There's probably some sort of protocol if you're doing that, probably because they think there's some dietary restriction if you're ordering something that specific, even though I don't have one. And it was like a whole thing. But if you want to go to McDonald's and have that craving for the burger, do that. And then you don't have all the bread and the cheese and the other calories. Essentially, it's just meat and onions and pickles, which...
Yeah, I think maybe... Like, I've never gone and ordered something that, like, unorthodox from a fast food joint, but I think, like, if In-N-Out was around here, they would probably, like, accommodate you the best.
Yeah.
Because their whole thing is stacking, like, ludicrous amounts of meat and cheese on top of each other.
Yeah, like, In-N-Out's cool about it, and I've done it from... There's a bunch of Shake Shacks near me, and I know it's, like, a New York thing. But there's a bunch of Shake Shacks in Chicago now, and I've done that there, and they're super chill with it. Like, you just go up and you're like, can I just get this? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, sweet. And my thing with ordering, like, those weird items is, like, I will pay for it. Like, I don't care what it costs. Like, I'm still giving you money for it. And it's always weird when they try to ring you up. They're like, I guess it's this much. And I'm like, that's fine. Like, I don't mind.
Even though it shouldn't cost more to order something which, you know, takes away ingredients that aren't in the actual, like, that aren't included in, like, the real price. Like, if you were to get a double cheeseburger with no cheese and no bread, like, yeah, you can charge me for a double cheeseburger, but really, you're charging me more than what I should have, because I'm not buying your bread and I'm not buying your cheese.
Yeah, I feel like maybe someone out there has worked at McDonald's or something who listens, but do they order the burgers and then, like, the buns and all that stuff in the right ratio, like the proportion? So, like, say you order 500 burgers and you have to order 1,000 buns or something. Is there, like, some sort of, like, they order it very strategically? Because maybe that's why they have a problem with it. Because then they're going to have too much bun and not enough, like, meat, or vice versa. If you just order the buns for whatever reason, that's probably why they don't like it, because there's this, like, ratio that they have to keep. And if you just
I'm sure. Yeah.
I'm sure that probably has to factor in.
Yeah, I'm sure that, especially with a international organization restaurant like McDonald's, they have their set. Well, like, they probably, like, study, like, all right, what kind of business do we do at this location? Let's use that math to figure out the buns, the burgers, and yeah, based on, like, the sales that they do at that location, I would assume that the burger to bun, like, ratio, there's something there.
Yeah, or maybe
they don't just order 5,000 patties willy nilly, and then, like, oh yeah, a set, you know, let's order 10,000 buns or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so talking about McDonald's, if you, if calories and the fact that McDonald's is probably poison, McDonald's sponsor us, I won't say that again. So if the fact that McDonald's wasn't poison, and none of that mattered, what would you order? Like, what would your perfect order be and like say you go in there with $20, so you can get a bunch.
I'm a very simple McDonald's order. I usually just get a double cheeseburger with no pickle.
Mm-hmm.
Though sometimes I can crave on some McNuggets.
Dude, I have a McNugget story. Dude, McNuggets, super good. But before, I think mine would be, I'd probably get some McNuggets. I'd probably get a Big Mac because I like Big Mac sauce, and I don't think they'll put it on any other sandwich. But I'll take out that middle bun because that middle bun kind of just ruins it.
It's just extra bread.
Yeah. So I'll get like a Big Mac, McRib, if it's McRib season. I love the McRib. A fillet of fish, nuggets, and that, yeah. I'm not a big French fry person, but also like a McFlurry occasionally. That kind of sounds good. Even though I'm not... I wish McDonald's had like frozen yogurt or like custard. I feel like that'd be better.
Yeah, they really only got their... whatever the hell their soft serve is, or the McFlurry.
Dude, their soft serve is definitely made from powder because that stuff doesn't taste like how any other like ice cream or cream in the universe tastes. Like, there's a very special thing. Did you know McDonald's fries are also not vegetarian? There's meat in their fries.
What?
Yeah, they sprinkle...
How do you incorporate meat into fried potatoes?
So the McDonald's recipe, I think in the 80s or maybe even the 90s, it was fried in beef tallow. So beef fat is how they were fried in the 90s. But people realized that was probably 1 million calories per serving. So what they did is they switched it to like vegetable fat, which is marginally healthier. And then through that, what happened was people were upset because it didn't have that same McDonald's fry kind of taste. So they have this like beef powder type extract that they sprinkle on their fries. So it's in the salt. So it's almost like ramen noodle beef powder, but it's like it's similar to that but different. And so that's on the fries. So McDonald's fries are not vegetarian. Yeah, I learned that recently. Yeah, I learned that recently. I was like, whoa, it makes sense because McDonald's fries have a very specific taste, and it's because of that flavoring agent they put in, which is essentially just umami flavoring. It's just the most savory kind of umami kind of thing. But yeah, what is my McNugget story. So one of my buddies was over at my house, and we did Uber Eats at like 3 a.m. because we thought that was a good idea. And I ordered, again, just patties. And on Uber Eats, it's really easy because you can click what you want and don't want. There's like, it's like a application or something. Like you just tick off the boxes you do want and don't want. And I think on Uber Eats, you probably could get the Big Mac sauce in like little cartridges or containers because you can just click for extra sauce. So I'm assuming that's what that is. But my buddy was like, dude, can you get me 60 McNuggets? And I'm like, and he was paying me, but I'm like, okay. And dude, he ate all of them in maybe 8 minutes. And I'm like, how are you not dead? Like, that's just so much food, apart from the fact that it's McNuggets.
So much fried food.
Yeah, I would instantly vomit, I think.
Yeah. If I have a very specific answer for this, but if it kind of goes back to your if McDonald's wasn't poison, if you could eat an ass load of a particular food from a fast food restaurant without any sort of dietary or health consequences, like you are the same as you are right now after you eat this ass load of food, what would it be?
It has to be McDonald's or no?
In fast food, just fast food in general.
Fast food in general. I do like In-N-Out. Let me think. Fast food. Have you ever been to Portillo's?
I have not.
Oh, okay. They have a cake shake, which is pretty fucking good. I'm not gonna lie. I personally think, what would I get if dietary things weren't an option? I'd probably get like a Whopper or like a Baconator or something. I know those are two different restaurants, but I'd probably get something like that. Because I love Whoppers. I do. I don't know what it is about Burger King burgers. They're pretty heat. But I also like Baconators because bacon's pretty fire. Even though I feel like eating bacon is bad because pigs are really smart and you're eating like a really intelligent animal. So I feel like there's something wrong with that.
That's why it's the best animal to eat.
Yeah, it is. It's like
It
eating.
provides you with so many different cuts of meat.
Yeah, no, dude, bacon. I think bacon and ribs are the only two kind of pork I'll really eat. I'm not a big ham person, and I'm not really a big pork chop person. I like ribs a lot. I love ribs, and bacon's pretty heat. Like, I know people don't like bacon for probably religious reasons and for dietary reasons, but it's so good. Like it, I don't know. It's one of those foods that's like good, and you can have like bacon flavored stuff, and it's not like gross. Like, like artificial like grape flavor, artificial other flavors. It's pretty gross. Artificial bacon flavor, still pretty good because it's just like liquid smoke flavor.
I haven't really dug into a lot of the artificial bacon flavored stuff like bacon mayonnaise or that kind of weird shit. Just because I'm a mayonnaise.
Yeah, you've talked about this.
I'm a mayonnaise originalist, I guess you would call it. But my answer to like if I could just eat anything I wanted without any sort of health or dietary consequences, I would straight up go to White Castle, buy 2 Crave cases, and fucking munch down for like 2 days straight, and I would be so happy. Dude,
I didn't even think of White Castle. You know what? If White Castle,
you may amend your answer.
Yeah, I love White Castle. It's because of onions, dude. White Castle or Popeyes. I'm not a big.
Popeyes is fucking good too.
I haven't eaten fried chicken like of any kind. I just like stopped eating it last year. I think there's something about, I don't remember what happened, but I got like grossed out by it for something. And I cook chicken at home, but like I just haven't eaten fried chicken in a while. I feel like I should get back into that, but it's like super bad for you. But dude, like a bucket of Popeyes like legs, you're done.
And they're biscuits.
Dude,
their biscuits blow KFC out of the water.
Yeah, they're like, there's something in them. They're like slightly spicier, or they're like tangier.
They have that Cajun spiciness to them that, like I would take Popeyes over KFC any day of the week.
Oh yeah. Have you ever been to JJ Fish? JJ Fish is like, I think it's just a Chicago thing. It's you can't really find JJ Fish in suburban neighborhoods, if you know what I mean. JJ Fish you can only find in the inner city. It's heat. Like, they have fried catfish, they have fried everything. Holy shit. It is so bad for you, but it's delicious. So
it must be just a Chicago thing, because I've never even heard of it.
I think it is just a Chicago thing. It seems like something that came straight out of like Louisiana, or like some like mom from Mississippi and her family are like, you know what, we're going to start a chain with this and move to Chicago. And it is so good. But most of them have bulletproof glass, so I mean that's a little off-putting. But the JJ Fish I've gone to has like bulletproof glass and have like chicken wire outside, but you get the best food. It's like anything great wasn't easy to do. Like anything that you want to achieve in life isn't easy. Just like JJ Fish.
Yeah, that seems unfortunate that they have to do that, but I mean, if they're providing a good product and people are happy, keep doing what you're doing.
Also, who the fuck would rob a JJ Fish? Like, I've never robbed anybody or stolen things, but if I'm going to rob and steal, I feel like a fast food establishment isn't the place to do that. I don't know, like, I don't...
I mean, if I'm putting myself into the mindset of just like a petty criminal.
Yeah.
Like, then, fast food places or just restaurants in general, places that are not going to have the type of security that, like, say, a bank would have, then, it's going to be an easy hit. If you're looking to just get a couple $100 out of a cash register, $50 to $200 out of a cash register, a fast food place is going to be your best bet, because they're not going to have steel curtains that shoot up if a cashier hits the button or something like that.
Yeah, you know what? I can see that then. I was just thinking more like, not that I would rob somebody, but I was thinking like, go to like a Walmart or something, because there's all those cash registers, but that's such a big place. Or like a Target, that like it would be hard to do that. Like a smaller kind of venue would, in a lot of ways, be better. So, yeah, not that we're trying to incriminate ourselves here. Robbing is bad. Don't rob stuff.
We are trying to influence a better breed of criminal here at See What Sticks.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, that's what we do here. We influence positive crime. And I always joke that, like, if I ever got put in jail, it'd be for a large-scale white-collar crime, like embezzling thousands and thousands of dollars or millions of dollars. Like, that's what I'd get put in jail for. Like, it wouldn't be a violent thing. It would just be a large-scale white-collar, like, huge kind of tax evasion or something. That's what I'd probably do.
Something that would qualify you for a position in our current government.
Yeah, I would. People would be like, wow, this guy's really good at stealing money from people. You know what? You should have a public office. And I'd be like, yep, that was my application. Thank you. Actually, I'm not good enough with money to know how that works. I'm not exactly sure how stocks work, so I'm probably not the right person to do large-scale white-collar crimes. I have no idea. Like, I know money is weighed in silver. Like, that's why money has a value to it. It used to be in gold. But that's all I know about money. I don't know anything else. I have no idea, like, why money exists or anything. Even though I love history, I don't understand. I have no idea how a bank works. It's like a magical place that you just get money from.
Well, I mean, the concept of money, if you really break it down to its just like basic level, like understanding, it's just like you're giving someone a tangible thing that somebody just arbitrarily assigns value to.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, it works for our system right now, obviously, but it's just like, if you break it down to that kind of basic understanding, it's just like, wow, like who assigns this arbitrary value to this piece of paper or this coin?
Yeah,
Which
that's
I'm certain
true.
that there's economists and historians that have an exact answer for that, you know, I in no way could possibly conceive right now with my, you know, idiotic brain, but it's just one of those things that I've most likely thought about while under the influence of natural, let's say, smokable things in my lifetime.
Yeah, no, definitely. Money's weird. Like, the idea that it has to be a tangible thing. I feel like in the future, because like credit cards are becoming so popular and like digital transaction like Venmo and like all these things, and like cryptocurrency. How the hell is cryptocurrency? Where's the value in that? Like, I don't get that.
That's still a thing I really don't understand. I have a friend that he has a little bit better understanding of it, but he said that it's going under quick.
Yeah, I feel like that. Yeah, it's not a sustainable model. But yeah, it's weird. I feel like there, in theory, could be better ways for people to exchange that value item for a tangible thing that you can purchase, or like music, something that isn't essentially tangible but it has a value to you. I don't know. I feel like if I had to design a government or design like a society, I don't know, I wouldn't put it in a piece of paper. I don't know. That's just how my brain works. I'm like, I get that this is a thing, and I get there's like importance behind this, but for some reason my big dumb brain doesn't get it. And people listening who know anything about economics and know anything about anything are like, this guy's an idiot. Like, this guy's the stupidest person, and could give me an entire dissertation on why money is important and why all of this stuff exists. I'm just too dumb to realize. And that's why I did film school and not economics.
And then pretty soon none of it's going to matter anyway. We're just going to be trading gasoline or pure blood as a currency in the wasteland. Yeah,
that's true. But I feel like in the inevitable apocalypse of our planet, I feel like I'd make it pretty far. I feel like if it's one of those things where I'm in a group of friends and someone's like, oh man, I got bitten by a radioactive person, or like I cut my leg, I'm like, sorry dude, I guess we got to eat you now. And that's like, people know me as like Lord Russell, like the guy who just like maybe eats people. And then I'm going to have like a little village where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to become a wasteland like ruler. Have you seen Mad Max? Kind of like that. I have a bunch of crazy cars.
My options are, I'm either going to die immediately through some bumbling, stupid accident, or I'm going to last long enough, not through any sort of like awesome survival skills, but just like I kept my head like under the radar, like well enough, and contributed to what is left of society enough to where like I'm not a target for anybody.
Yeah. See,
like, I'm not going to be any sort of hero, but I'm not going to be on anybody's shit list.
exactly. That's a smart way to be. That's how I would be. And I also know how to sail. So I'm going to steal a boat, sail out in the middle of Lake Michigan, and chill. A bunch of MREs, just chill there for a few weeks. Who knows? Just hang out.
Lake Michigan's going to be gone. It's going to be evaporated in the nuclear winter.
Oh, you're right. Well,
or frozen over.
Yeah, it's going to freeze over. I'm going to just chill out somewhere, just the middle of the ocean, wait for all of this to kind of blow over, then come back and be under the radar. But then, like, you're going to have, like, these wasteland rulers, and I'm going to stage, like, a mutiny. And then as leader of this mutiny, I shall become the leader of one of these tribes. That's how I do it. I already have my plan. I have like a whole like manifesto board with like red string. And I'm like, this is how I'm doing this. And people laugh at me now. But when I'm Wasteland King, who's going to be laughing then? Me. I've thought about this a lot.
Like, a friend and I have, we've gone over like, back when zombies were in vogue, like less so now because I think there's definitely the zombie fatigue that's set in now.
Yeah.
But like back when The Walking Dead first came out and zombies were just like taking over pop culture, a friend of mine and I, we designed our escape plans from where we were at the time. We had all of our like avoid this area, head north, go to the colder areas where it's going to like freeze over the winter. So you're actually safer up there. We had all that stuff planned out. And I still like from time to time think like, if society just breaks down, not because of any sort of like supernatural zombie thing or like artificial intelligence takes over, but it's just general society just collapses and there's chaos and anarchy. Like, I think I have a pretty general idea of my escape plan from
society,
urban areas in society, like that I could keep my family and I alive for long enough.
Yeah. See, my family has a summer home type cottage thing in northern Michigan that's literally in the middle of actual nowhere. Like the nearest grocery store is like 35 to 40 minutes away. And the road that this house is on is not paved. It is a gravel road. And it is the nearest actual road on a real GPS is 3 miles from there. So that's where I'm heading, and I'm going to chill there. And we
is there a body of water nearby with like...
It's on a lake.
Oh, that's right. You said it's on a lake. Okay, so that might not be a bad idea because you can fish.
Yeah.
That can be your main source of sustainable food.
Yeah, I'm going to just chill out there for quite a while. And I know it's one of those places like my dad's grandfather or like my dad's great-grandfather or something built it. And it's withstood a long time. And it's in like it's on a lake, but it's in a very forested area. Or not, it's a very foresty area, not deforested. So you have firewood and there's lots of animals like deer and stuff. And it's northern Michigan, so it's essentially like Canada. So people just hunt and stuff. So once I learn how to use a gun, there we go. I do know how to fish, but I'm very impatient, so I feel like that would be not good. I'll have to hire one of like my like servants, because I will be an outlaw ruler, to go fishing for me, and they get like a stipend and stuff. That's how they're not going to turn on me because I'm a better ruler than everyone else. Also, how did we get on this topic?
Beats me, honestly.
These things
we talked about money.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow we got from money to trading gasoline or blood in the wasteland.
Yep.
And that's how but I'm not even sure how we got to money.
I don't know. This is what happens on the show. It just happens. But so we can get back to the Wasteland Outlaw, which I will be ruling. I'm going to rule it through propaganda films is how I'm going to rule it. If you want to know. It's propaganda films. So I have a question, Ben. So for those of you out there who know or don't know, I was bullied a lot as a kid. It's not a sob story. It's just a thing that happened. And I see some of those people at the gym, and I'm like, I fucking hate you. And then they're like all nice to me. I'm like, dude, you bullied me for like 8 years. Like, why are you being nice to me now? Just because I can kick your ass. But I was always like, because I read comic books and played video games and all that kind of stuff. And do you think that sports or people who are very, who do like the fantasy stuff and all that are nerds in their own right, because it's the same as like being into comic books. It's just, you know what I mean? It's like that heavy level of fandom. Does that make you a nerd?
Well, I think this breaks down. This goes into, you have to break down the difference between geeks and nerds. You can be geeky about a specific thing, say comic books, movies, video games, sports, fantasy, football, that kind of stuff. I think being labeled a geek just means that you have maybe obsession is a strong word, but you have enough of an appreciation for it to where you know more than the average person about that subject. Nerd, I define as someone that, like, you know, everyone knows what a nerd, or has an idea of what like a nerd would be in their mind.
Milhouse.
Like Milhouse, yeah, Milhouse from The Simpsons, or just basically, you know, like somebody that, like a Poindexter, pretty much. But I think there's a difference between being a nerd and like being geeky about something.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in grade school, I've always played sports, and even in like high school, I was captain of a team, but I was like a geek and a nerd the whole time I was in high school. And I think it's one of those, like, even though you're a captain of a team does not mean you're a jock. Like, you know me quite well, and my friends know me. Even though I like work out every day, I'm the least jock person ever. Like, if I see someone at the gym, I'm like, did you see the last episode of this show? And it's not like, I'm like, bro, what do you even lift? And I'm like, because I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I'm not there to be like, bro, are you deadlifting like this much? Like, I don't give a fuck. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, like, I'm getting a Lord of the Rings themed tattoo. Like, that's love for the craft. I mean, you have a Simpsons sleeve. Like, that's love for the game there. That's like,
that's geekiness.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a Simpsons geek.
Yeah.
Because like I would say that I don't want to brag. I don't hope this doesn't sound like I'm being braggadocious, but like, I have an above average knowledge of the show, especially from seasons 1 to 11.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we had a whole episode about it, or 2 episodes about it.
Yeah. And you have a deep appreciation for Tolkien and the Lord of the Rings saga. So, yeah. Like, yeah, I would call you a Lord of the Rings geek. And I think in the past probably like 15 years, the concept of nerdiness and geekiness has turned trendy. Yeah. There's less of a stigma behind being a nerd, like, than there was, say, at least in my, experience as being a 31-year-old person. Like, back when I was in elementary school, yeah, people were still getting bullied for being a nerd.
Yeah,
nowadays, I maybe that still happens in elementary schools, middle schools. I really don't know. I assume somewhere it probably does. But to people, especially like adults, 18 to 31 age demographic, like, people will dress like nerdy or geeky about something, like, on purpose.
Yeah, that whole style is coming back, like the K-Swiss shoes and like the dad jeans, and that whole thing is like a style thing now. And that's really weird to me. And it's not like a bad weird, like, it's cool. And I think it's really funny, like, okay, I wouldn't have had a podcast if I was 12. But now that, like, I have a podcast, and if I'm talking to, like, a guy or a girl, and they're like, you have a podcast? That's, like, a cool thing now. And where probably 10 years ago, you would have been looked at as, like, a total geek if you had that. Or I've just, like, been talking to people, and someone, like, who you wouldn't expect, even like in any situation, they're like, dude, do you play Red Dead? And I'm like, excuse me? Like, that's just like a thing that comes out that's so natural, instead of, did you hear the score of the game? Is like, bro, are you playing Spider-Man? Are you on Red Dead? It's like, that is so much more normal now. And I think it's I'm going to get into something about sports in a second, but I think it's just like our culture is changing and accepting the fact that nerds, I would like to say nerds rule the world. Nerds rule the world, except for in this country, where jocks rule this country, and we can see how that goes. But yeah, nerds control a lot of stuff. What is your opinion of esports? Because that's kind of where nerdiness and jockness, if that's still a thing, hit each other.
I think that esports has more room to grow, and I think it's going to become a more mainstream thing.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say whether it'll be as big as like the National Football League.
Yeah,
it's hard to touch the NFL in its popularity and its money making abilities, but I think that esports and Major League Gaming will hit a mainstream popularity at the level of like Major League Soccer in America.
Yeah,
possibly a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I totally agree with that. And I think a big thing when you're talking about esports, so this is something I've gotten in arguments with friends about. So I used to sail with the U.S. national team. I don't know if I've ever talked about that on the show, but I did that for a little bit. And then I got injured and like I had to do school and shit. But I did that. That's like what I was captain of, and I was captain of the team in college. And the word sport is really interesting to me, even though I'm not really a jock and I don't really pay attention to sports. Like my dad's a big sports person, but I'm just not. Like I don't really watch sports, even though I don't even watch sailing. I mean, I keep up with like who's doing well, or if my friends are going to like Olympics or doing something. It's cool like to see them on TV, but I don't think playing video games are considered a sport because there's no physical training that you need to do. Now, there is skill involved and practice, but that's the same with like if you do chess or you're doing these other kind of crafts. I think it's more of an activity than a sport, because I think sport implies this physicality to it that video games simply don't have, where even like you can be like they're sitting down, and I understand Paralympics, there's people who are paraplegic and they're sitting down to do their sport. But the fact that you don't have to really move your body very much doesn't make it a sport. Like even archery and shooting, yeah, you don't have to move a whole lot, but there's this other outdoor aspect to the activity. Even ping pong, like those guys are crazy. I don't know, like, what do you think of that? And I mean, I'm not saying this to insult anybody who may be in the esports or on an esports team or watches that. I think it's super cool. I've watched esports stuff, and I'm like, this is quite interesting. But the people that are doing the activity are in the video game, not the people controlling the video game. I think that's where this difference is.
I think maybe 2-3 generations ago, what you are considering sports being more physical, requiring like a skill that you would apply through your body, and it's like in your motor skills. I think that would have been a perfect definition like 2 or 3 generations ago. I think in the span of time that we're up to now, over the past few decades, or past couple decades especially, sport, or the concept of competition, just plain general competition, has been adopted into the category of sports.
Okay.
Because for the past 20 years, World Series of Poker has been televised on ESPN.
Okay.
The name of televised sports right there. And, poker requires a good amount of skill for what you're doing there. Like, reading your opponents, most of it is pretty much luck of the draw, obviously.
Yeah.
But there is an amount of skill to be good at this competition.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I think that's going into also like esports, where you're the extent of your physical activity is your thumbs and index fingers, but there is a amount of skill in it required to be on a competitive level to where you're making tens of thousands, maybe millions of dollars. Like some of these guys in like Halo competitions, Call of Duty, League of Legends, like anything you could think of as far as esports and what they compete in. Like those guys would wipe the floor with me. Match of Call of Duty.
See, my thing is like when you say sport, I'm not saying that you're not right. Those guys are crazy talented and have such good hand-eye coordination on that level that I can't even fathom that. Like the amount of hours they put in front of their computer screen and strategizing and all that is incredibly impressive. Like I can't even begin to do that. You know what I mean? But I think the idea for me, I think my hiccup with it is the difference between like skill and athleticism.
Okay.
Like those guys, okay, maybe they're a sport, but I wouldn't consider them an athlete. Like for me, even though I'm not sailing anymore, like I'm like today I was in the gym for like 2 hours, and that's not like a flex, but it's like, and I mean, I guess I work out to get better at working out, which doesn't make any sense. Like for people who just go to the gym all the time, if you think about it on paper, like that totally doesn't make sense. Where like it's like being on a fitness hamster wheel, where you're like, yeah, I'm just going to the gym to get better at going to the gym. And I mean, it's a self-discipline thing for me more than anything, but like esports, yeah, it's difficult. It's incredibly hard. You have to be really smart to do that. You have to be there's a level of incredible skill and practice involved, but it's not athletic at all. And I think that's where my hiccup is.
I think what you said right there, that's the difference. And that's something that's a good point. And I didn't think of that before is, yeah, there's the difference between competitor and athlete. I don't think that people in the esports leagues or, you know, people playing poker professionally, I don't think they would consider themselves athletes. And that's, you know, that's not to say that being an athlete is better or is more of a honorable thing than being just a competitor of a different sort of sport. But there is a, you know, I would think that most like competitors of those types of esports or competitions wouldn't even think to consider themselves athletes.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, just because like I go to the gym doesn't mean I'm better than anyone else, or like the whole alpha thing. I think that's stupid as hell. I would not consider myself that at all, ever. Or like, I don't know. I mean, if someone else's perception of me is that's cool, but I think that's like a dumb title to give yourself, because that's being so conceited. To be like, yeah, I'm alpha. I am the top. I am like the thing. So yeah, it's not on that level. I think it's just, I think the reason I bring it up and have an opinion about it is, there's a person I know who's really big in esports. Like I have a lot of friends who are big in esports just by the friends I have. And this one guy was kind of just saying, he's like, well, I'm an athlete like you because I do esports. I'm like, bro, like, that's cool. Like that you're really fucking good at this and you get paid to do this. Like I don't get, like no one gets paid to sail. I mean, people do, but not really. And like no one gets paid to like go to the gym. I mean, people do, but not really. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's not becoming
through bodybuilding competitions.
Yeah, like there's powerlifting, bodybuilding trainers, like those kind of guys. Like I have a trainer, and I mean he gets paid by me and other people, but it's like I told this guy for this thing, because I'm not going to say his name on the podcast. We'll just call him Charlie. I was like, dude, Charlie, you're really mad good at this. Like you're able to support yourself kind of doing this thing, but that doesn't make you athletic. Like you can't, like if we did a running race or something, like you wouldn't be able to beat me on that level. Now, if we were going to do typing skills or anything else on a computer, fuck yeah, you destroy me like in half a second. Like that's just not where my brain is at or my skill set. But I think that's where I have a little bit of like this heated side, which makes me seem like a bit of a prick, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. That's just like my thing on esports, where I think it's really cool and I think it should be embraced more, because it makes a lot of those kids, including myself, who were bullied in grade school and high school who played video games. It legitimizes that activity. And
for sure.
And I think that's so important to have like a group of people, like it doesn't matter what shape, size, color, gender, anything you are, who have that activity. It really makes them, you have someone to look up to who does what you do. And I think that's huge. I think like when I was sailing, like there's people I looked up to, and like one of my coaches won Olympic medals. And I think when kids who play video games have role models who play video games win medals, I think that really makes them look towards something and give them a goal. And I think that's probably the most important thing about esports is it gives people a hero. And I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah. One thing that I do hope happens with the evolution of esports, and as it continues to grow into a more mainstream organization, is I hope that they do keep rooting out a lot of the toxicity that comes along with it is kind of a natural thing that comes along with gaming and the gaming culture. And we've spoken about this before on a previous episode.
Yeah, we did.
But like there's, you know, I go to a lot of gaming websites and read things to like news in the industry, and a headline that seems to pop up quite frequently is, so and so team suspends this teammate of their esports league due to like homophobic or transphobic or racial slurs like used while in competition. And I think that kind of stuff needs to be rooted out real quickly.
Oh, yes.
And I think if the esports scene becomes a champion of like inclusiveness to saying like this kind of language and this kind of toxicity is not welcome here.
Yes.
I would hope that would start to change the overall gaming culture at large, so that people that maybe do have aspirations of competing on on a Major League Gaming like level would see like, okay, I got to clean up my act if I even want to be involved with that.
Yeah. And I definitely agree. I mean, I don't really ever play games online. God bless you, or I hope you're not choking to death.
That was one of those throat tickles again.
Exactly. No, they're the worst. But I mean, I don't really ever play games online because I suck. I only play like open world RPG type things like The Witcher and stuff. But whenever you go online, even if I'm like playing with buddies or the shit people say to you is the most demeaning shit ever. And I think that you hit something there, where once you fix that part of the culture of video games and that like counterculture, that subculture, once that gets ironed out or turned into way more of a minimal thing instead of kind of a stereotype, I think then you're onto something. Then you're cooking with fire or whatever, you know what I mean? But until that happens, I think it won't ever take off in the right way. And I think there's a lot of people, like a lot of like athletes and celebrities are huge into video games. And I think that's really cool to see. But then there is this group of hyper-masculine dude bro people who are like, dude, video games are like the worst. They make you a geek. Like that whole thing. And I think once that gets ironed out as well, it'll become more legitimized. But I think it should be like a subset of athleticism, like where like poker or like people who are really good at chess, like that's crazy how they can see the board like that. And I feel like there's a huge Venn diagram overlap between chess players and video game players. Just like knowing that strategic side of things. But
thinking X number of steps ahead.
Yeah.
And trying to know where your opponent is going to be.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I totally see that on so many levels. And I'm not trying to downplay it, but I think, getting the difference between competitor, sports player, and athlete different. Just because, I don't know. I mean, technically, I go to the gym. Does that really make me an athlete because I'm not playing a sport? You know what I mean? That just makes me someone who's into fitness. Like, that's like a weird term. I mean, there's a dictionary definition, but what does it really mean to be this thing and categorize yourself as something?
Right. I think that kind of maybe switch, like curving back into athleticism and those type of like sports that require athleticisms. I don't, at least in our lifetime and probably the next couple generations, I don't think that esports will reach the level of popularity that, like, say, football, baseball, basketball has right now, because I think there is this sort of primal, like, human desire to see, like, skilled, like, athletic feats.
Yeah.
Like what it takes to be a professional football player, or a basketball player, or a baseball player. We as humans love to see those types of things that aren't necessarily, or that we aren't necessarily capable of doing. Like, we love to see athletes, do crazy shit on the field.
Yeah,
and I think the difference is gaming is much more accessible. All you need is a few $100 to hop into the PlayStation or the Xbox ecosystem, and you can play right alongside these people that will most likely whip your ass in a match of Call of Duty or Halo.
Definitely,
but you're still on the same playing field with them.
Yeah,
you can't do that with professional sports.
No, definitely, I totally can see that as well, and I think it's really accessible for people who also, just on a different level, who may physically or whatever can't play sports the same way as other people. And there's this acceptance there because when you're behind a keyboard, everyone's the same, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the unattainability for the overwhelming majority of humans, like the unattainability of being a professional athlete like the NFL or MLB, like I think that's what draws people to watch it. That will draw people to watch it more than any esports league will in our lifetime.
Yes,
just because it's that thing like we can't have it, so therefore we're drawn to it, and it's going to be more popular than esports.
100%, and that's why like the World Cup and the Olympics are like the two most watched things ever. Because there's actually a really funny Joe Rogan line about this, where he said, "Yes, all people should be treated equally." 100%. I agree with that. No matter what shape, size, color, anything, you should all be treated equally because, you know, all people are kind of equal, you know? I mean, that's just, that's how we should treat each other. And that's not a controversial statement. That's a don't be a dick, be nice to everybody kind of statement. But Joe Rogan has a really funny line where he's like, technically speaking, on an evolutionary level, no, we're not. He's like, have you seen Olympians? I can't do that shit. They're created a little better. Like, they have a little juice there that I don't have. And I think that's like, there's something funny about that, but there's a little tiny truth to that statement where, like, that's why we like watching athletes, because as much as I go to the gym, I'm not Drew Brees. I can never be Drew Brees. Or, I mean, one of the best sailors, like most people won't know this, but like Tom Slingsby, he's like won a bunch of golds. No matter how much I sail, yeah, technically you can get that good. But that guy, there's natural skill in that guy. Or if you just look at like LeBron, there's other people in the NBA who may even practice harder than LeBron, but he has that genetic side to him. And there's just something about it where like, dude, that guy's like 6'7" and built like a Greek god, you know?
Yeah, like I don't think nobody is going to say that we are all created or we are all born biologically the same. Like that's it's just factually not true. But we can all strive to reach a level of equality that like
where we treat each other the same.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't matter like what you look like or the good or bad genetics that you may have. I mean, I'm very lucky to be 6'3" and fairly athletic, but I mean, I have epilepsy and I just had a huge knee surgery for another genetic-y thing. So I mean, my genetics aren't perfect either. And I mean, I joke about it and stuff, but I mean, I think no matter what shape and size, just treat each other equally, even though maybe genetically and evolutionarily there's some things working against people. And I think that's why athletes fascinate people so much, because these people on the surface, or at least on a physiological level, are just like the top of the class.
Yeah. And there's something about seeing like these, like kind of you said, like these Greek god-like athletes that, it's almost like we're watching a freak show. Because the average human is not like this. I mean, you can make yourself to be like that with a lot of discipline and hard work, but really it is kind of just like we are looking at these people that are freakishly different than us. It's just we don't give it the negative connotation that you would think of with like, you know, a circus sideshow. But it's essentially the same thing. We're watching people do their weird shit that makes them millions and millions of dollars. Yeah, 100%. And that's something that, I mean, we'll get off this topic in a sec, but yeah, I think hopefully we didn't offend anyone by this because we're just talking about it. And I think it's one of those skills, even with esports or just watching people do that. I'm like, damn, that's impressive as hell. Like, dude, that is an achievement in itself. Like, good for you. Like, in every way. Same with, I mean, different, but a similar kind of like, whoa. Why, like, the National Spelling Bee's on TV? I'm like, dude, I don't even know that word. Or, like, how the hell can you spell that by knowing, like, its origin is Mesopotamian? So, like, then you're like, oh, obviously it's this. You're like, how? Where does your brain go to figure that shit out? And I think, yeah, that's, like, that kind of awesome skill that we love and why we watch TV for, like, the human experience and experiencing like people's lives through proxy, you know? And I don't know, I think it's really cool. And that's just like, that just got real deep. But I think that's super, super cool. And there's a reason we don't watch like
national couch potato tournaments, you know? Because as long as you're achieving something and really being at the highest level of what it is you're doing, people are going to watch.
Hot dog eating competitions.
Dude, that Kobayashi dude, he's eating like 60 hot dogs in a minute. That's awesome. And how is he like 80 pounds? Like, how?
I don't know what the hell that dude does in between these competitions, but yeah, he does not look like he stuffs 60 wieners in his mouth in less than fucking like 5 minutes.
Yeah, like that guy's definitely running marathons and just drinking water and eating a lot of lettuce. Like that's that guy's diet.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. Like when I watch like the Nathan's hot dog eating thing, I'm like, this is awesome. Like nothing makes me happier than watch a bunch of people shove hot dogs in their face. And I think that's the same reason, like the hot dog thing and esports. I think that's why people like cooking shows, like competitive cooking.
Oh yeah,
because it's
yeah. Those are that's an odd thing to watch. Like, especially because I don't think the majority of people that watch those are looking to like, you know, say like, oh, I could definitely cook that recipe, unless it's a specific show to like show you how to do it.
Yeah, unless it's like a master class. And I mean, I've been watching the Great British Bake Off. So good. Everyone's so nice to each other. I love it. But it's one of those things where like I watch this, I'm like, dude, that's so cool. There's like this artistic side to it where they make the like the prettiest kind of cake I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm like, that's super cool. And yeah, there's like a competition to it as well. And even if there wasn't a competition, I totally watch because that's like the whole food porn thing. I love it. And yeah, it's just interesting to watch other humans do things that you can't exactly do.
Yeah, and when you add that element of competition, it makes us that much more interested in it because humans love to watch competition. We love to compete against each other. Yeah, it's a part of that. It's part of that alpha. You know, it's not necessary. It's not exclusive to male. You know, there can be female like alpha, I guess. Like people, it's just people wanting to be the best at something.
Yeah, it's like that whole pride mentality, not pride as in like prideful, but like lions, like being the head of the pride. Mm-hmm. And like with lions, like the lioness is the head of the pride in that situation. And like we evolved from chimpanzees who are aggressive ass animals. Like holy shit, they rip each other's arms off. And it's the same thing where it's like you're the head of the what is a group of chimpanzees? Like the herd or the head of the family or the village?
Let's look it up.
Yeah, what is the name for a group of chimpanzees? Because a bunch of like geese, I think it's called a murder. Seriously.
It's a murder of crows.
Oh, murder of crows. Okay, I knew it was a bird. But yeah, like it's a gaggle of geese. That's the thing. Yeah, what's a bunch of...
Okay, a collective noun for monkeys. I mean, this just gives it monkeys is a troop.
Oh, a troop. Okay. That kind of makes sense.
Oh, wait. But then it goes on to say a group of monkey can be referred to as a troop, barrel, a carload, a cartload, or a tribe.
Oh, yeah, like a barrel of monkeys.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know where the hell they get carload of monkeys from.
I don't know. It's like one of those clown things, like how many monkeys can you fit in the back of this car? But I feel like the word car comes from something. There's like a root word, and we're not going to get into that. But I feel like there's a root word to that. But yeah, so a barrel of chimpanzees. Yeah, we evolved from that, and that's why we're aggressive and like competing with each other to be the head of the pack, like wolves or something. Like you like being the head of that, and that's an evolutionary thing with us, and where we like to see success in other people and ourselves. So I have a question leading off of this, branching. So you listen to other podcasts, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, podcasting is that's what I listen to in the car. I don't do radio or music anymore, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I have Spotify and I listen to it in the gym, or if I'm just like doing something, around, like if I'm just walking around my house. But if I'm in the car or like doing like cardio in the gym, like on the bike or something, I'll listen to a podcast. Even if I'm swimming, I have like waterproof headphones, so I'll listen to podcasts. But what would you think about someone? I mean, I'm sure people do. Like, it's like the same as like watching yourself win a race or like watching yourself do something is weird for most people, unless you're like a really big narcissist. But like, what would you think about listening to this podcast? Because you're like the co-host of it. What isn't there some weirdness to that? Like hearing yourself?
Yeah, there would be like, I've never had any sort of desire to listen to episodes that I've done with you.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I know exactly what's on it, and I trust that you wouldn't, like, snip and edit this to make me ever sound bad or something like that. So, like, I don't really have a desire to listen back to myself of what I already have said.
Yeah. Occasionally, this isn't me being a narcissist. I have listened. I mean, I have to listen to it again to edit the podcast. Like, after we're done, I listen to it another time. But in the car, I have occasionally turned on this show to see what I can improve upon. So it's like a practice thing for me. But it's not like I'm listening to it for my own enjoyment. Or if I'm listening to it, I'll put it on my computer and take notes. And be like, okay, I said this too many times, or I didn't do this properly. How can I learn? And I think that's the only way I can listen to myself. Also, when you hear yourself on a recording or on TV or anything, you sound differently than you do in your own head. And that's super jarring. To be like, I sound like that. And I was on a buddy's podcast recently. Shout out to Trado. And I listened to a bit of that just to hear, because we talked for 3 hours and he didn't cut any of it out. So I like just skimmed through. I'm like, oh my God, he kept all this in. And it's just interesting for me to hear myself on a different show, but it's not like I listen to it. I think I probably listened to 3 minutes of it just to hear, like, okay, I didn't sound like a complete idiot on someone else's show. Because on this show, I'm cool with sounding like a complete idiot, just because it's our show and that's just what it is. But yeah, it's weird to me just to think of that. Like, I've had recordings of myself sailing or recordings of myself doing something or swim meets when I was a kid. And it's like, it's weird to watch yourself. It's just so strange. And I know some people, I know a guy who has a podcast who listens to his own show. And I'm like, dude, that's cool. I just can't do that.
Yeah. It's even like, it's weird and jarring even to look at photographs of yourself to where you, like, candid photographs to where you don't know that they were taken.
Yes, that's so
strange. I always
strange.
feel like photos of me taken when I don't realize it, I look like a dumbass. Yeah, like I'm always in some sort of stupid facial expression where I'm just like, ugh.
And I don't know. I'm very I mean, I have no idea. We're going to do a game in a second, but I mean, I feel like I'm an okay looking person, but I feel like in any candid photo of me, I look like such a goof. And it's just, yeah, like you're saying, it's the worst facial expression and like the worst angle kind of thing. It's just like, it makes you look so bad. I'm like, is that what I look like in public? Like, is this how people see me?
Yeah, it makes you really self-conscious. Like, yeah, you have that expression like, oh shit, do I have that expression often?
And I mean, I actively try not to be self-conscious about things, but I know everyone is self-conscious, but I actively try to be like, okay, this is what I look like. This is how I present myself. I'm cool with this. Like, I know what I am. And I mean, I'm pretty self-aware enough to be like, okay, I can improve this. I should probably not do this. Blah, 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 blah. And I actively try to think about it so I don't go in every situation being a bumbling mess. But then you see a candid picture of yourself, or if like someone's recording like a Snapchat and you're in the background, you're like, oh God. Like, I'm an idiot. Like, I am the worst kind of person. And it's just like a really funny, weird phenomenon when you see yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have talking about ourselves, not like narcissistically, but just like reflecting kind of how we're doing this. I have a little game, so we are going to be shallow AF here because that's what we do at See What Sticks. We're shallow like a plate of cereal. So I'm going to give you a list of dudes. I want you to rate these dudes on a scale from 1 to 10. And you can get real specific, like 8.34. And we're only doing dudes on this show, not like female celebrities for very obvious reasons. Because that would go from us being funny and like self-referential to us being considered something else.
So am I rating them on a scale of looks or just general?
Dude, you can rate them whatever way you want because that's what we do here. So
okay.
My first one is Jon Hamm.
Jon Hamm, he's like a 9
dude,
on like everything.
Jon Hamm is goals. Like, if I can ever become as sexy as Jon Hamm, I'm done.
Yeah, he seems like a genuinely awesome person. He's an awesome actor. Dude's looking good.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, he's a great dramatic actor and a great comedic actor. Like he's the full package there.
So I know this is bad radio, but I just pulled up a picture of John Hamm. It's the first one that comes up. In the most heterosexual way possible, gives me a straight boner. That's just like that gives me a heterosexual man boner right there. Like he's a perfect specimen. That's a hot dude. Like if I saw John Hamm and like I'd get giddy. I'd be like, oh my god, you're so pretty. Like there's a really funny Simpsons line. It's like, what's the difference between handsome and rugged? Handsome means you look at yourself in the mirror, and rugged means other people look at you. And that's John Hamm. Is rugged. So, I'm going to pull up another guy, if I can spell this word right. Let's see if I... this is just a question. Someone pulled this up. Ben, does this guy look like me?
A little bit. I think you've showed me that before.
Yeah, his name's Jonathan Vigliotti. He's like a newscaster. And other people have seen that, and they're like, that guy looks like you. And I'm like, I personally don't see it, but okay. So our next guy on the good-looking dude list, I'm going to pull him up. So, little different, but we're going to pull up a picture of my dude, Taika Waititi. So I'm just showing Ben the picture as well. I know this is bad radio, but if you don't know who any of these people are, feel free to play along at home and look them up and rate them yourself. So we're going to talk my boy Taika.
So if we're going off looks, I'd say 7, 8, maybe.
Yeah.
Just from his work that I've seen, I'd give him a pretty solid 8 or 9 on just being talented and being funny and overall just awesome person in the entertainment industry.
Oh yeah, I think he is he's a kind of director that I would strive to be like, just personality wise, creatively. He's just someone who's really I guess you could say an inspiration. Stylistically we're very different, but just that kind of energy he brings and the enjoyment that his films bring to people, very big inspiration. But yeah, I would say Taika Waititi, solid 8.2. A little above an 8, 8.2. Also, his accent, it's a cool accent. New Zealand, you're done.
Got that Kiwi accent.
Dude, right? And he's half Maori, so he's got that native. Then we're going to go someone who I consider to be very good looking, the man himself. I'm going to get a good picture of him. Oh yeah, this picture. Jason Momoa.
Momoa doesn't do much for me. I can see where many people would consider him sexy as hell, but just I don't know, something I can't quite nail it down. Just something about him is I just think I can see he's a good looking dude, but I don't know. I can't really explain. And I haven't seen very much of things with it. He was in Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the upcoming Aquaman. Other than that, I have no real experience with him.
Dang son.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's chiseled, of course, but I don't know. It's just he is who he is.
No, I really, really like Jason Momoa. One, because he's just incredibly good looking in the most heterosexual way possible, guys. I mean, even if not, it's a good looking man. But I think also for a stylistic thing, he has really cool style, and that's one of those things I'd like to have, that kind of style. That it's kind of what Johnny Depp wants to be, but way cooler.
Johnny Depp he's a mess.
Dude, have you seen recent pictures of him?
Style.
Have you seen recent pictures of Johnny Depp?
Oh, sorry, you cut out a little bit. I didn't hear you ask that. The most recent, I wouldn't really know what years they're taking, but he just looks, he looks like Johnny Depp, and to me, that's he looks, oh good God. And that hat is fitting.
Dude, yeah, he looks bad. He looks emaciated is the word I would associate with that look.
Yeah, that looks like a problem.
Yeah, no, there's something wrong. Medically, something is going on because he looks gaunt.
Yeah, like that skin is sagging like a little bit too much. I mean, he's only in his 50s.
Let's see, how old is Johnny Depp? Johnny Depp.
Early 50s, I would assume.
He is. Let's go down to. He is. I think he might be older than we think. He was born in 1963, which makes him 55.
Okay, so straight mid-50s. He looks a lot worse than what he should.
Yeah, he looks bad. But Johnny Depp in Chocolat, he's a good-looking man.
And I guess most of us are used to seeing him, caked out in makeup as Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, I think Jack Sparrow is probably the most, by far. That or Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, I think, is probably his other most famous look. If you're talking Johnny Depp.
Especially on a cult status.
Yeah, or like Edward Scissorhands, but he's really young in that. Let's go with this. This person, I think, in my personal opinion, is the best looking celebrity. Just in my opinion. You can disagree if you want.
Ryan Reynolds, he's a good looking dude.
He's a 9'4".
He's got that charm level. It's through the roof.
And like Ryan Reynolds is one of those guys, like even like this, I wish I could look that good. That's kind of the look I have now, but a way worse version.
There was a point in time where I was sick of Ryan Reynolds shit. Like he seemed like he was typecast as the same smarmy ass like person. In every good lord, yeah, that's a 90s, early 2000s look. But I was really sick of his shit, and like he was just typecast as like the same person in all of his movies. I gained a lot more respect for him when he took kind of like creative control of the process of making the Deadpool movie. Like he had played Deadpool before in the X-Men Origins Wolverine movie, which was a big piece of shit. And I think because of that, and how badly the creators screwed up with the character of Deadpool, he like kind of took over and wanted to develop the character the right way to be portrayed on screen. And I gained a lot of respect for him, like for wanting to do something like that right, and not just taking a job for money, and because like his personality, it fits perfectly with the Deadpool character.
Oh, 100%. Also, I didn't know this until literally right now. Look at Ryan Reynolds' leg. He's tatted out.
What the fuck?
Like
I guess. What movies have you seen him in shorts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting my tattoo. I was going to do it on my forearm, but it's so much bigger than I thought. Looking at the mock-up, or what would you call it, like the sketch?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm doing it on my leg instead.
Okay.
Just because it's so big, and for my first tattoo, your first tattoo is on your chest, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much over my heart.
Yeah, and so for my first one, I didn't want to do it on my forearm because I want to start slow, and I'm gonna do it on the side or back of my leg, just like when I get like the placement, I'm gonna like be like, oh, can I have it a little more over here or here? But yeah, Ryan Reynolds, I felt the exact same way. He was always typecast as like the Van Wilder kind of character.
Yes.
And I think after Deadpool, and now he's going to do the Pikachu, the Detective Pikachu, that movie actually also looks quite good. And I'm not really a big Pokemon person anymore, because I'm not a child. No offense to people who like Pokemon, but I'm just not a kid. So, and I don't have any Nintendo system, so I haven't kept up on any Pokemon stuff. But yeah, I'm excited for that. That actually looks good. And then
I still haven't watched that trailer. I heard very positive things about the trailer, and that it's like it kind of subverts your expectations for like a Pokemon movie.
Dude, it looks really cool. Like actually, it looks really legit because it's like a buddy cop movie is what it's going to be.
Okay, something I read today that makes me very excited is the first batch of reviews for Into the Spider-Verse have dropped, and it's universally like positive.
Thank God.
They say like people have been saying it's like maybe the best Spider-Man story ever put on film, and possibly like one of the best superhero movies like to be released. So that gets me like
Praise be.
big hard on excited.
And it's Miles Morales who's the main character.
Yes.
Hell yes. The only disservice is why isn't a Donald Glover playing Miles Morales voice wise? Probably because he's too old and they wanted to try younger.
I think his voice has grown to the point where it's recognizable as being like
an adult,
too old for a high schooler.
Yeah. What about my boy Ryan Gosling?
Ooh, Baby Goose.
Ooh.
Yeah. He's a good looking dude. He tends to pick and choose his film roles very carefully too, which I respect a lot.
Yes, he doesn't just do movies. Actually, 2 of my favorite movies he's in are not really that popular. Actually, 3. There's my 3 favorite Ryan Gosling movies are Lars and the Real Girl, which is about him and he's a bit socially different. And he buys a real life sex doll, but he considers it his girlfriend and his wife. And it's a really heartwarming story about like acceptance. And it's really good. Like it'll make you cry. It's kind of like Little Miss Sunshine, kind of like bittersweet stuff. It is so good. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it. It's called Lars and the Real Girl. Like
it's a very good movie.
That movie, Drive by Nicholas Winding Refn. Holy shit. Probably in my top 15 favorite movies of all time. And then this movie with Bradley Cooper, him, and I think is it Eva Mendes is in it? It's called
Beyond the Pines.
Yeah, Place Beyond the Pines. You know it.
That's a damn good movie.
That movie is so fucking good. And it's so underrated. Like that movie.
Really long too. It's a very, very long movie.
It is very long.
It's really good.
That also, Ryan Gosling, I'm just looking because when you type in his name, his tattoos come up. He has a Giving Tree tattoo. That's really cool. Much respect. And then he has also another tattoo down his arm that looks like a thing from like Where the Wild Things Are.
Yeah. It does look like that kind of paw.
Yeah, maybe he's just really big into those like kids books. Like maybe they have a big impact on him. Who knows? Good for him. Okay. We're going to go with okay. This is when I transition, I have to find a good picture of him here. I just have to find like the best modern picture because a lot of these are older, like probably 10 years older, but we're looking at him right now. George Clooney.
Oh, he's still awesome.
George Clooney's a 10. He is just incredible looking.
He was when I was maybe like 10 or 11, he was like the first actor that I would have considered my favorite actor. And it was all because of his role in From Dusk Till Dawn. And I thought he was the coolest motherfucker alive because of that movie.
Yeah, you know what? That is a really good point. He is, 100%. I think he was one of those first actors for me as well where I'm like, damn, this guy is good. Like, good. Let me find a good picture here because I want to show you something. This is bad radio unless you out there personally know me. But I have to pull up a picture of my dad, and you'll see why in a second, Ben. Apparently, my dad does not like being in pictures at all. He's like historically hates it, but I have to find one because I know I have a picture of my dad on here, which sounds bad that I don't have a picture of my dad on my phone. Okay, so Ben, here's a picture of my dad. He looks really upset because he's holding my dog. So, That's my dad. And then that's Steve Martin.
Steve Martin has a little bit more volume to his cheeks and face area.
Steve Martin's also 10 years older than my dad. And my dad weighs like 75 pounds because he's like a marathon runner. Like, he's nuts. Like, today, he went 4 miles for a run and then did a 4-mile bike ride and worked out. Like, what is up?
Yeah, go ahead and stop that.
And my dad is like 60. Like, he's going to live forever. So, hey, Dad, I know you listen to this. Good for you for living forever. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Bad for you for making the rest of us, look terrible.
Yeah, like
in our fitness routines.
Yeah, my dad's in better shape than I am. And I'm like, I'm in my 20s and my dad's in his 60s and he's in better shape. And I'm like, I don't like this. There's something wrong with this picture in every single way. Okay, let me pull up another one because I think this one is... I think this dude's really good looking, but there's a divisiveness to this one. I think this dude, very suave, is how I would describe him in a word. Idris Elba.
Oh, I don't think there's any debate. Idris Elba he's a good looking dude.
Oh yeah, he is. He may play the next James Bond. Please, Idris Elba for James Bond would be so cool.
That rumor's been going around for a couple years now, and I have not read anything about his interest level in it, but I think it would be a very good direction to open up the character of James Bond like to different
ethnicities.
Yeah, different ethnicities and races. Like, fuck it, who gives a shit what assholes think? Like, oh, James Bond can only be white.
Well,
fuck you.
I think it'd be cool because then you could say James Bond is just a moniker. It's not his name; it's his title. Like, it is his undercover name. Like, whoever holds that role as 007 is just called James Bond to keep it a secret. And I think that'd be really cool if they went that direction, because that would explain why there have been like 7 James Bonds who are all different. And like the title of M that gets passed on, but the title of Bond should also get passed down from like actor to actor. And that'd be a super cool way to do that. And then you could have this whole thing where you have like a wall of Bonds, like all the previous people who've held the title of James Bond.
Even if they didn't want to get into the weeds about like why James Bond is now a black man, like just don't even bring it up. It's just if I was making this film, if I was writing, I would just be like, this is the way it is.
Yeah.
Because like James Bond, like you said, he's been played by 5-6 different actors. Like if people can suspend their disbelief to like accept that James Bond, originally played by a Scottish actor, Sean Connery, is now played by Roger Moore, like a straight up British one, who is now played by Pierce Brosnan, and Timothy Dalton, the other one. I always forget his name.
I will look him up, all the Bonds.
If you can suspend your disbelief to like it can be that many different guys, like why not? The only thing that's keeping you back from accepting a black man as playing James Bond is just your pre-held notions about your pre-held bigotry and your bullshit.
100%. I totally agree. Because, like, if you just do it and don't say anything about it, people will accept it. And then people will grow up with, like, James Bond being a black dude. And I think that's cool.
It's the same dickhead neckbeards that, like, got in a tizzy about, like, Finn in Star Wars.
Oh, God,
like being a black stormtrooper. Like, who gives a flying fuck?
And, like
you dumb nerds.
Yeah, yes. And that's that thing, because, like, I think it's really cool. I'm not a big fan of the prequels, as I've talked about on this podcast. I don't think they're the worst thing ever that most people say. They have their serious issues, but I think it's really interesting that, like, the clones in the prequels were designed off a New Zealand guy. Like, the guy who plays Boba Fett or Jango Fett, who the clones are, like, they're him. He's from New Zealand, and he's, like, part Maori. I think that's really funny, where people are cool with that for some reason, where they didn't throw, like, a fuss over that. But then if Finn is a character or Rey is the main character and all stuff, people go crazy. I'm like, shut the hell up. There's a little green puppet named Yoda, and you're cool with that? And Chewbacca?
Yeah, like, if you're going to be pissy and you're going to leave the fandom, like, because of your stupid little grievance with the franchise, good riddance.
Oh yeah, like
get your toxic ass out of the fandom and make it a little bit better.
Yeah. Oh, I looked up all the Bonds. So all the Bonds are Sean Connery, David Nevin, George Lazenby.
Yeah, he was the other one. David Nevin, who the fuck was he?
I don't know. David Nevin is in the original Casino Royale from 1967.
Okay.
And then Roger Moore, Sean Connery again, Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, then Daniel Craig, and let's hope Idris Elba. But my boy T-Dalt, yeah. You know what? Sean Connery back in the day, good looking dude.
Oh yeah.
He is suave. Like, he is like, when you think of like suave, yeah. I have one that's like a shocker here. It's what's his name? Young. Wow, if you type in the word young on my phone, that's the first one, probably because I've looked it up a bunch of times. I want you to say who you think this is. And if you know the picture, that's fine. Who this guy is. I know this is bad radio. I'll tell you guys in a second.
It looks like, kind of looks like Drew Brees.
Do you know who that is?
Who is that?
It's my boy Joe Biden.
No shit.
Yeah, it's young Joe Biden looking like a fucking snack.
Wow.
Right? He is so good looking when he's young. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, look up young Joe Biden. He's a whole meal. Dude is crazy good looking, especially when he's young. I mean, he's like in his 70s. He's still really good looking. Like if I look that good,
Joe.
Yeah, if I look that good when I'm 70, hell yeah. Like forget about it. I have one here, so let's do this. Young. This one is divisive, and you'll probably know exactly who it is as soon as I show you the picture. But if you don't, it might blow your mind. So, okay, his name is in this, so I have to just zoom in. Do you know who this is?
Yeah, it's Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe, really young, good looking guy.
Oh yeah.
Now he looks a little craggy, but still is cool
comes
looking.
With age.
Yeah, like he's not a bad looking guy. People are like, Willem Dafoe's ugly. I'm like, I don't think so. He's like, I mean, he's a little interesting looking, but definitely not a bad looking guy.
He's got very defined like cheekbones and a very defined jawline.
Yeah, definitely. What about this guy? Also pulls off purple glasses like a champ.
Oh yeah, Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. is also, he's like one of those like, how old is he? He has to be in his late 40s.
He's 50s. I would say late 50s maybe.
Oh man, let's see. Let's see how old Robert Downey Jr. is. He's in
maybe about the same age as Johnny Depp.
You know what? You actually might be right. Let's look. Robert Downey Jr. is 53. Okay, so 2 years younger. Yeah, but he looks a billion times better.
Yeah. Well, at one point in his life, he probably looked about the same when he was really into his drug addiction. Like he went through, like for the younger crowd that's listening,
they don't know about that.
Used to be like a cautionary tale.
Yes.
Like the cautionary tale in Hollywood. Like he fucked up his life bad.
Yeah.
But then he made the biggest turnaround, like the biggest comeback in the world.
Yeah. I mean, he was in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang right after he got out of jail. And then after that, like a year later, he got cast as Iron Man. And it's like, I think there was another movie in there as well before Iron Man. But like, holy shit. And Robert Downey Jr., my mom actually saw him get arrested. She was at the same hotel at the same time in Arizona where he got arrested. She was there for some business thing. So yeah, my mom saw Robert Downey Jr. get busted. But here, how about this? My boy.
Oh yeah.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, he's a cool drink of water.
Yeah, he is incredibly good looking. He's also mad fit. Like, he's like the world's most fit person. And I'm like, damn, like, you could get anybody in the universe that you wanted. Like, no doubt. Like, it doesn't matter, dude, chick, no matter, you got it. Like, and they've even...
It's these Australians, man.
Yeah.
What the hell are they breeding down there? They provide my gold standard for charm, good looks, and just all around awesome person. Hugh Jackman.
Oh yeah,
like he's. Oh my god, I got a man crush on that dude for days.
Oh, 100%. He is. Yeah, for those of you out there who are listening who may not know who Chris Hemsworth is, he's Thor in the Marvel movies, and he is incredibly good looking. I want to see if you know who this is, and then we'll talk about it. He's also very good looking.
That is Michael Caine.
Yeah, young Michael Caine. Michael Caine is
my cocaine.
Yeah, Michael Caine is my cocaine. Ooh, there's a picture of Michael Caine. You know what? This is another good-looking dude here. We're just talking about good-looking guys now. I mean, that's not a bad topic to be on. And also, big fan of this guy just because his first name is my middle name. Let's do like a young picture. My boy Jude Law.
Jude Law.
Yeah, dude. Jude Law, really, very suave. I actually want to see the new Fantastic Beasts movie, even though I didn't love the first one. I want to see young Dumbledore. I think that'd be cool.
I don't have enough of a connection to Harry Potter verse to I'm not invested in it to really care about the Fantastic Beasts movies, but I recognize and appreciate the craftsmanship that went into many of the Harry Potter films.
Yeah. I grew up reading those, and I went to the premiere of the books, like the midnight release. I went to the midnight release of the movies. I mean, I'm a way bigger Lord of the Rings fan, obviously, but I love Harry Potter. I have a very soft spot in my heart for Harry Potter movies. I think, Ben, since the new one's coming out, if you want to do some homework, I want you to watch all 8 Harry Potter movies. I want to do a Harry Potter episode.
Jesus, okay.
And you have kids. Your kids are old enough to watch the first one, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know if it would hold their attention.
It's a little slow. Your daughter is 4, right?
Yes.
Maybe give it a year or two, because the end of the first Harry Potter, there's some stuff in there that might scar her, and I don't want you to scar your daughter with a movie.
Yeah. I think all the Harry Potter films are on HBO now.
Yeah, I think they are.
So I could take a week to go through all of those.
Dude, you should, because I really want to do a Harry Potter episode where I hear your opinions watching them as an adult, because I am the right age where the Harry Potter movies came out. So I think the first one came out when I was 7. And Harry in that movie's 11. And I was that right age where I'm like, oh, I could get a letter from Hogwarts too, kind of thing, like that magical age where I grew up as the movies went on. So there's that side of it where I'm like, wow, this is really cool. What about him? This guy. Damn.
Ooh. Well, he's got that chin stroking action going on in the photo you're showing me.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor, or is it Ewan or Ewan? Ewan?
I always have heard it Ewan.
Yeah, dude. You know what surprised me? I saw a picture of him. This dude, Ewan McGregor. Look this up. Ewan McGregor tattoo.
Holy Jesus!
Yeah, he's tatted up. He has a full round half sleeve on his right arm, from his shoulder to his elbows, all tatted up. And it looks really cool on him as well. Have you seen the picture of Ben Affleck's new tattoo?
I think so. It's like a back tattoo, right?
Yeah, it's really bad. And I feel bad for Ben Affleck, but bro, what the hell is this?
Ugh.
So for those of you who don't know, Ben Affleck has quite a few tattoos. But he just got this weird phoenix on his back, and it's just I don't know, it's not proportioned right, or it's at a weird, something's up with it. I don't know what's wrong with it, because I'm not literate in tattoo speak, but it's just not, it's not good. Artistically, I think it's probably well drawn. I'm sure he spent a shitload of money getting it, but it's just proportioned very funky on his back. It looks like a big arm piece that you just superimposed on someone's back. Here's one. I'll do this and then close out with one more. This one, very divisive. I think this dude, he's older man suave. I think he's the exact same age as my dad, but.
Oh yeah, Cranston.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston. Bryan Cranston reminds me of my dad. Watching Breaking Bad and watching Malcolm in the Middle especially, just some of his mannerisms and some of the things he says as Walter White, because my dad is a doctor and he's a scientist. Some of the things, the way he explains things, I'm like, my dad could be a meth kingpin. No one would know. Just the way he presents things, I'm like, huh, Dad, I have some questions for you.
If you don't mind me asking, what lane of
medicine,
medical practice does your dad do?
Yeah, my dad's an oncologist. He's a cancer doctor.
Okay.
And for those of you who don't know, my mom is also a doctor, and she's an infectious disease doctor. So she takes care of people who get really sick after transplants, and also HIV/AIDS patients. So that's pretty cool. Helps really, really, really. They both help really sick people, and I'm in the film industry like you. So very different paths. But my parents, I'm very thankful. I know they listen to this. They never told me with nearly anything I've ever done, that's a stupid idea. They've always been like, see how this one plays out for you, but let's see you succeed. And that's why I'm the way that I am, and I run a podcast. Because my parents were never like, don't do that. You just give it a shot. So, thanks, Mom and Dad. If you've stuck through to this long on this episode. And so I have a question for you, Ben, on a totally separate note before I give you your last one. So, I'm guessing, sorry, I'm cracking my knuckles, it's a bad habit. So I'm guessing you've told people that you're on a podcast, right?
A few people. Like, it doesn't really come up, I guess.
No, I'm not saying like you're a closeted podcast host. You're like, no one knows. It's like your alter ego is Podcast Ben. So,
I think, what was that last thing? I think you cut out a little bit.
I said, is your alter ego Podcast Ben? Like, people don't know that you do this, and then someone figures out, and they're like, Ben, are you on a podcast? And you're like, no, it's a different Ben.
I never hide it from it. It's just, I think like once or twice, it's come up in conversation.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I saw something on like your Facebook feed, like you're on a podcast. So yeah, something my friend and I do.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's cool. What? Okay, so if someone came up to you, or one of like your friends, or just anybody, and they were like, "Oh, I want to listen to your podcast," would you tell them to listen from episode 1 or listen to the most recent one? Because every week we suck less and less. How do you tell people how to listen to it? Because I've recently had several people ask me like, "Oh, I want to listen to your show, but what episode do I start with?"
Well, this is an easy show to get into anywhere, really.
Yes.
If people are like, for me, if people are interested in just like getting in where I got in, I think I would just relay them to the specific episode where I came in, and then let them know like that this is where I came in. But you can really listen to all of it, and you can kind of hear the evolution that's taken place, like of the show over the past year and however many weeks.
Yeah,
like it's a show that has grown.
Definitely. Yeah, it is, and I think that's interesting because when you come on, or whenever I've had like 2 guests recently, but whenever I had guests, and when you were still a guest host instead of being a critical piece of the show, it said featuring Ben. So, like, yeah, when you tell people, like, if you want to hear the first time I'm on and then listen to the most recent episode, you can hear the differences and the level of comfortability and just, like, how our format has changed and how we, like, just have better conversations.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I always tell people, I'm like, if you want to listen to the show, listen to the most recent episode and go back in time. Don't go from episode 1 to now. I mean, you can, but you'll fall off real quick because the episodes, I mean, I'm proud of every episode I've ever done, even though I phoned a few of them in. I won't tell you which ones those are. And I think, yeah, if someone's going to listen to it, listen to the most recent ones and then go back. Please don't start at episode 1, for the love of God. There's a lot. I think there's a certain point, Ben, you can look at it too. There's a certain point where I stop caring so much in a good way, where I think you're the same way on the show. Where I first started, I wouldn't swear on the show. There's a lot I didn't do. And now I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, it's my podcast. I can say whatever I want as long as it's not, like, offensive in, like, any major kind of way, you know?
Yeah, that's just, like, the comfortability that's developed for both of us. Like, we stopped caring about, like, sounding like professional podcasters and more just like, let's just talk. Let's talk how we normally would. Let's have a conversation instead of this sort of semi-scripted, like, phony bullshit. Like, let's just be who we are.
That's what your picture is paused on my screen. I would like you.
Yeah, that's what the candid shit that we were talking about. Like, that's horrible. Yeah. Horrible.
No, it's all good. But yeah, I think it's really interesting because this came up in a conversation today when I was talking to somebody. This individual asked me, she's like, hey, if I want to listen to your show, where do I start? I'm like, the most recent episode, please do not go back. Like, they just get shittier as you go. And I mean, there's some gems back there for sure. But I think in general, yeah, we're just a lot more comfortable now, and we have a flow and we have a way to speak to each other as not just friends, but on the podcast. Because there's a certain way you have to talk that's like inclusive, but also general, where it's like easy listening and it's just 2 people talking. And I mean, I think that's a special kind of podcast because a lot of times people have like a system and they take notes and they do things. And yeah, I mean, I'll take notes occasionally, and I know you do too. But I think that is where we can limit ourselves if we only do stuff by the book. And it's one of those, I'm not saying it's like an Eric Andre thing where I'm trying to make the world's worst podcast and get successful because of that, but it's like one of those, we're off the books. You are in uncharted territory now. Get ready. And I think that's one of the most fun things about doing the podcast with someone else like you who's cool with that sort of thing. Because I've had friends on who don't know what to say when I'm just like talking. I'm like, dude, we have conversations all the time. So it's like that, except there's a microphone.
Yeah. And for our situation where we do our conversations over FaceTime, it can be a little bit different because like there may be that second or few second like kind of difference in what's said and what's heard on each end of the line. So we may not interject as naturally as we would in person, just because we don't want that awkwardness of interrupting each other to kind of come across through the podcast. Like it wouldn't sound natural for because when we try and interject, like we each stop and there's like a second of pause, but that's just because we're speaking over the internet.
Yeah. And you said something a second ago where you said there's a section. I thought you were going to say sexual tension, and I'm like, Ben, we may be on different pages right now. But I mean, it's not even sexual tension at this point. I mean, you can't see behind this, but I have a big old shrine. It's not tension anymore, Ben. It's a legitimacy. So
yeah, and your phone has paused with a weird picture of me, and so you can't actually see. I'm naked now.
Oh, damn it! I'm pissed. For those of you who are new to listening, Ben and I met in college. So people have asked me, like, where did you find the other guy on your show? We're friends from college. So, yeah. Someone on the show thought you were my brother, which was interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess in theory, you could be. Like, in theory. I mean,
it wouldn't be completely out of the realm of, reality.
Yeah, but if you listen to the show, we both talk about our individual families, so that would kind of break that whole illusion that we are siblings. But yeah, I mean, the show is interesting to, being with someone who's like a friend. And I mean, I loved being on Trado's podcast. I know he listens to this, and it was so weird being on a podcast with people who aren't my normal co-hosts. And I mean, it was so much fun. I'm very thankful to be on, but it was just such a different dynamic to be on a show where it's not my show. So I have to kind of be on my best behavior, and I can't say anything especially bad.
Yeah, I can see how that would be maybe a little bit intimidating, but also just like you don't have the control, and naturally you don't have the control that you would have for this show.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you have to adapt.
Exactly. And it was super fun. It was actually a really good exercise in thinking on my feet, because on this show I'm cool with it. And I mean, Trado's show is very, very similarly laid out, where they just kind of talk, which is really good. It was good for me. I'm glad I didn't have to make a whole lot of notes. But if it was one of those shows where it was like we have these very specific topics and all this, I'd be like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I'm not good at that. Like, I mean, I was like in college, I had to write notes, but if I do that on a show, I'm not going to come off organic and I'll sound like a prick. And
it's best just to have, just to speak off the top of your head.
Yeah.
Even if like you have to stutter around it and find what you really want to say.
Yeah.
It comes off sounding so much better and natural.
Yeah, it really does. And people, when they first started listening, I think we didn't have the hang of it yet, and didn't have that kind of the proper amount of banter, and that was a thing. But I think now, since we have this this kind of flow back and forth organically, it works so much better than if we tried to do notes. Like, if I had notes for this show, I couldn't. Also, I saw a picture. Ben, you need to make an Instagram. And it said, testicles are just dick nipples. And I agree. Sorry, that was a really big aside, but I just saw it,
That was
and I'm
the
like,
biggest aside.
but it's kind of true. But also, think about it, it's kind of true. But yeah, no, it's interesting that like we both are comfortable enough, and I think, yeah, I mean, you had your dog on. I have my dogs, but they bark, so I don't want to have them on the show. And my dogs are really loud. They're like very jangly with their like tags, so they're just really hard to get on the show. But I'd love to do that, and I think it'd be really funny to do a show where we each bring on someone who's not ready for the show. I think that'd be really funny. Just put someone else on the spot.
Ambush them.
Yeah, just like you like have a friend over or like your brother or something, and I have like a friend over. I'm the only child, guys. Sorry. I have someone over, and then we just do the podcast, and we're like, okay, now talk. And it'd just be like, and if it turns out like garbage, yeah. And also we there's a long lost episode of the podcast. I mean, technically I have it, but the audio is shit. I kind of want to release it. Like as a bonus episode, like release a real episode on the normal day that we release, which now is Tuesday, which I've looked statistically is the best day to release a podcast. I don't know why, but it is. But I think it'd be fun for me to release that other episode with just like a precursor before the intro song being like, this episode is really weird. The audio is bad. And for a number of reasons, I was not prepared for the show. I was not in the right mindset to be on a camera, or I was not in the right mindset to be on a microphone for a number of reasons I will not say on the podcast. But yeah, so I think that'd be a fun one to put out, and people are like, what the hell is happening? It's like
you save that one for premium users.
Yeah,
we set up a monetized system, and for people that like, you know, contribute to our Patreon or something, like, all right, you get this shitty episode.
Yeah, we should do like outtakes, or at the end, like we just keep saying stuff, like, you know, the conversations we have after the show, record those and give those to people and be like, here you go, here's some way behind the scenes stuff that you probably don't want to hear.
See what Ben and Russell are really like.
Yeah, I said that on one of the episodes, and I think you did too. If people find me insufferable on the show, I'm slightly less insufferable in real life. Because I'm kind of, I wouldn't say I'm playing a character, but I'm sort of an extra version of myself on the show. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not like this all the time. Usually I'm really sad and I'm crying a lot. And yeah, I'm very angsty in real life. I'm not, but I'm a little more angsty than I am on the show. But yeah, Ben, I have one more question before we wrap up. Do you have any leg tattoos?
I do not. I don't have any plans for any leg tattoos either.
What's your opinion of leg tattoos?
I'm indifferent towards them. I mean, yeah. I mean, if that's a place you want to get something done, go for it.
Cool. I think that's a good answer. Especially knowing that I'm getting one on Monday. So the next podcast we do, I'll have a tattoo. And that's going to be a topic, is me bitching about how bad it hurt. Do you think lidocaine, that kind of like lidocaine cream for like injuries, would be good to put on? You have a bunch of tattoos, so you would know.
I don't know if that would be very good, because that's like a pain ointment, correct? Like
it's like numbing
like
cream,
a topical pain ointment.
Yeah, it numbs you, is what it's meant for.
I can't say for certain, like, if there's any good or bad effects for putting that on there.
Yeah.
For every tattoo that I've had, I've only ever been suggested to use, like, healing, like, creams, like, meant for almost meant for, like, burns.
That's what I've heard, too. Yeah, it's stuff for burns or stuff for, like, scars, like, for post-surgery.
Yeah. My best advice would be to just go with what with your tattoo guy or girl, your artist. Just go with whatever healing process and healing treatments they give you.
Oh, okay, cool. Also, I mean, there's still a possibility I would do it on my forearm. You have a bottom sleeve. For those of you guys who don't know, Ben has a Simpson sleeve, and it's sick. How bad did the inside of your forearm hurt? So, like, this is bad radio, and I'm putting my arm up to the camera. So, from your wrist to the inside of your elbow. So, like, where you'd get blood drawn in that area. Funny
enough, like, that area of my arm has nothing. like
Really?
for the sleeve. Yeah, the rest of it's like the top of my forearm.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that, like from the kind of wrist vein area straight up to like the bend of the elbow. There's nothing. It's clean.
Oh, interesting.
It wraps around every part of my arm except that part.
Oh, damn.
But I mean, it's close. Like I have stuff close enough to the rest of it that I mean, none of it is pleasant.
Yeah.
There are just some parts that are more tolerable than the other.
And if you had to describe the pain, I heard that your legs don't hurt bad at all. I heard that's like the least painful spot because it's so meaty. Mm-hmm. And there's not a whole lot of nerves in your leg. I mean, there are, but like on the outside of your like calf, it's very like you can scratch yourself. And a lot of people, like if you're working on your car or bike, you just scratch your leg and you're like, ow, that sucks. And you kind of move on with it rather than if you like cut your like wrist or your forearm.
Right.
It hurts a lot more. But what would you describe the pain? If you had to like equivocate it to another kind of pain, what would it be the closest to?
I mean, like really, the pain is what you would think pain would be if like someone just scraping a needle across your skin. Mm-hmm. Basically, because that's really the act of what's happening is they're, scraping an inked needle into your skin, and really that is what the pain is. It's just like that continuously as they put the ink into your skin. And,
you've had surgery.
Yeah.
And post surgery, it hurts. For those of you who don't know, if you've never had surgery, it hurts having scars. Saying that's like a 10 or like have you ever broken a bone?
I've broken my nose a couple times.
Oh, okay.
But that's like a different kind of break because it's mostly cartilage in your nose, I think.
Oh, I shattered.
I've never like fractured an arm or a leg or anything like that.
I shattered the back of my hand and my wrist on my left side, and that's my writing hand. So that hurt really bad. But like, let's say a 10 is getting like kicked in the balls. For the ladies listening, getting kicked in the balls hurts a lot. Say that's a 10, and a 1 is like, I don't know, opening the door into your knee or something like ow, that sucks. Or like when you're like in a desk and you put your knee into the desk, you're like ow, that kind of thing is a 1. Where is a tattoo on that spectrum between like hitting your knee and getting kicked in the balls?
I'd say probably a 7.
Okay.
Like, and this is all, people's pain thresholds are going to differ. Like yours could be different than mine, obviously. But like when the act of the needle being pressed into your skin and putting the ink on your skin is happening, yeah, it's not pleasant. And that's like the 7 part. But like as soon as they lift the needle, it doesn't hurt nearly as much. And it feels like the residual pain of a sunburn.
Oh,
basically.
Okay. Interesting. So,
yeah.
I mean, after my knee surgery, for those who don't know, I just recently had knee surgery. I had 36 stitches. I didn't take any painkillers afterwards. I like toughed it out. So I feel like if I can do that, I can do a tattoo.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm just a real wuss about pain. Like, I was cool post surgery. I'm like, this is gonna suck. I'm gonna suck this up. I'm gonna get through this. But I'm like freaking out about like a small-ish tattoo. I'm like, guys, I'm gonna die. And it's like, dude, you're totally fine. Like, you're so overblowing this. Because I feel like once it happens and I go like under the needle, so to speak, I'll be like, oh, okay. Like, cool. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, there may be, like, parts of the work that, like, when you're getting it done where there's going to be probably parts where you're more thinking, like, this sucks than others. But, I mean, like I said, as soon as the needle is lifted, like, the pain essentially just, like, instantly goes away. And it's more just that kind of, like, burning feeling.
Yeah,
and not like an agonizing burn. It's just like I said, like a sunburn.
Yeah, I have friends who've gotten them like on their spines, and they're like, that hurts.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting mine in a meaty area very strategically, and somewhere I can also hide it strategically, just because you never know with employers and shit. I don't know. You never know, and family members who are going to judge you for stuff. If you're one of those family members who judges me for stuff, you know who you are. I still love you, but don't judge me. But yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, I'll do it, and it's gonna suck for a little bit, and it's 17 words, so, but the longest word is decide, so it's not like I'm getting a dissertation, but 17 words is a lot.
It's a good amount of words, but you'll be fine.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. your guidance and wisdom will get me through this. I'll FaceTime you while I'm getting. I'm like, Ben, I don't like this. You lied to me. This hurts way more than you said. But yeah, no, I'm excited. Next time we do it, I'll be an inked person. I'll be a tattooed man. I'll be illustrated. But yeah, no, it'll be cool. I'm excited. I think it'll go one of two ways.
Yeah. Before we check out of here, going back to your proposal of me watching the 8 Harry Potter films and doing a sort of franchise review, or kind of what's the term I'm looking for? A retrospective, maybe, of like what I just watched. I propose to you that, so you said you're not like the biggest Harry Potter fan, but like you do really do appreciate and like that series of films, correct? Yeah. Okay. I will watch those 8 films and do that sort of what my thoughts are for an episode. Okay. If I can get you to watch the first 8 entries in the Friday the 13th franchise. Deal. Okay. And I do have all 8 of those movies, so I can actually like give those to you. Oh, cool. Yeah, that'd be sweet. And then I can probably just mail them back to you. For those of you who don't know, Ben and I don't live close to each other, so we do this over the phone. But yeah, no, I will actually be seeing Ben this weekend. It'll be cool. But yeah, I will 100% do that. I know I'm not a big horror person, but if you're going to do all the Harry Potter ones, I will do this. And then we will do an episode on what I watched, an episode on what you watched. Yeah. Friday the 13th for me is like, it holds a special place in my heart because it was like the first horror franchise I watched as a kid. Probably way too soon and should not have been watching it at that point. But, I like / love all of those original 8 films for various reasons, some more so than others. But like it's a franchise that is just like oh man, coughing, holy shit. It's just a franchise that I think you'll have fun watching as well. I will 100% do that. That's one of those franchises that I've seen probably 15 minutes of all of them. And so I 100%. I will 1,000,000% do that because that seems like a fair trade or a fair compromise. But yeah, so expect those 2 episodes in the next few weeks. And then Ben, we're going to do a Christmas episode coming up soon. So that'll be a thing. We have to. Yeah, we'll do favorite Christmas movies. P.S. Die Hard and Gremlins are both on that list. So if they're not on your list, you're wrong. Yeah, there's an answer that you're wrong. You're fucking wrong because those are both Christmas movies and they're staples. Also, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is going to be on there. So, rest in peace, John Candy. But yeah, so on that aggressive note, thank you again for listening, guys. We do have a website for the podcast. Everything is always linked below in the description. For those of you who want to reach out, please email us, do all that fun stuff. We have an Instagram page now, an official one, official website, email, Twitter, all that fun shit. So if you want to reach out, there's also a Facebook page for it if that's something you're into as well. That's where the stuff gets posted to first, just because it connects with my account stuff easier. But we'd love to hear from you. This is me signing out, and Ben, let's close it out. Do it. All right. As always, whether you're a long-time listener or first-time listener, just thank you so much for joining us. You guys mean the world to us. Even, we do this to have conversation, to hopefully entertain you guys. But regardless of whether we're successful at that or not, thanks for everybody for tuning in and your continued support for us. This has been See What Sticks, a podcast about everything and nothing. I am Ben, and hope to see you guys next week.